Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Marissa Price. I am a social worker, healer, business educator, currently living in Guadalajara, Mexico, which is how I met my guest today, Kim. But yes, I will pass it over to her to introduce herself. The topic of the conversation today is finding community when traveling, which is so key when traveling the world, especially as Black women, to connect with other people who are on this journey of traveling, discovering new lands, new places, and connecting with people who live in the places where we're traveling to. So I will pass it over to Kim to introduce herself.
Hi, I am Kim S. Hi, everyone. I am from the New York City area, New Jersey, New York. I am a hairstylist for the entertainment industry. Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, hairstylist for the entertainment, theater, film, television, wig stylist, all of that stuff. And I am currently, my place of residence is Querétaro, even though I'm going back and forth, but we'll talk about that later. Um, and what else you want to know? I'm sorry. Did
Oh no,
I?
you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think
work as
that's about it.
you work as a hairstylist traveling around the world, right? On
Traveling, well,
cruises,
that's
right? Mhm.
the cruise thing. That's only a part of it. The other
Gotcha.
thing, when I'm not traveling, I'm working on television and film.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. And
Yes.
the portion as far as doing it on a cruise is for the theater on the
Mm.
cruise. Yeah, so that's what I take care of, all the cast members and the wigs and all of that stuff for whatever show they have on there, and then I leave.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Stephanie's in the chat. Yes. Hello. Yes. She says, tell us where you are now. Are you still on the other side of the world?
No, I'm not on the other side. I just got back from the other side of the world. I just got back Monday. I was actually in Stephanie's neck of the- I was in Costa Rica, Panama, um, Curacao, Bonaire, Aruba, Jamaica. Yeah, it was like a 12-day cruise, and then I came back. I am currently in the States right now. I usually leave out of the States and then I go to Mexico, but I just before I go back, there's a project opening up, so I'll be working here for a minute. Make my money. It
Yeah.
always kind of sucks me in, but the reason why, okay, because
Hmm.
I am doing my transition, but the reason why,
Yeah.
we were sometimes your plans get a little bit derailed if
Hmm.
and last year was a lot of unfortunate events. The end of the year before last, the end of, what was it, 2022, 2023. So that was a lot. It was a lot going on. My father had gotten a stroke. He had a
Okay.
stroke, and that just tossed everything,
Right. Yeah.
just put everything on pause, and it was just a big halt. And just kind of just tossed my siblings and our world upside down. So it was just a lot of that. And then when he started recovering, and it's like, okay, well, I could get back to my life. Then the strike happened, the actor strike,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
affected all of us. So, my financial plan got a little bit different than it normally
Yeah.
would. And it just kind of put a lot of things on hold. But fast forward today, my father's doing excellent. He's recovered greatly, and I'm so glad that he has. Um, so now it's just a matter of, my plan to get out of the business, because that is my plan.
Mm.
Um, just got, halted a little bit, so
Hmm.
it's like, okay, well, let me kind of do what I know for sure that sticks, and I could get, because in the
Right.
industry just is kind of like fast money, you know what I mean? Especially
Hmm.
as soon as you work, that's as soon as you get it, So it's just like, okay, well, let me pay down these bills again,
Hmm. I understand that.
do what I
Yeah.
gotta do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's important, that pivot, especially as you're traveling. Like you said, things come up that you can't really plan for all the time.
You
So having that
absolutely
ability
can.
to pivot is so important Key. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And at this time it's, we're well, not you, but some of us are at the age where, life is really life and with older parents
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's you have to kind of be prepared, I guess, in a lot of cases.
Hmm.
Um, even though you're never really prepared,
Right.
for
Yeah.
you kind of, well, for me, I'll speak for myself. You just kind of, because life is going on, that things are going to stay the same, or your parents are getting older, but at the same time, it's like you kind of ignore it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and then you know something happens.
Hmm.
The thing that you dread the most happens, and this, the arrow pointed to
Right.
me. And you had to deal with it, and nobody, I think, especially with um just that part of life, as far as dealing with aging parents and the possibilities of different things, of becoming an instant caretaker and everything. No one really prepares you for that. You know what I mean? No
Hmm.
one really talks about it because it's such a traumatic, you know, time. You too busy trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
no one really has time to really tell you what, and everybody's story is different, you know.
Hmm.
And that's just the part of life that you kind of deal with, but you just kind of put it on the back burner, as far as a true discussion sometimes, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
what it is technically. So it's just a matter of figuring things out,
Yeah.
so
Totally get it. Thank you
yeah,
for sharing that.
no
And I'm
problem.
sure, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, right? As you travel, like you said, things pop up, illness may pop up that you can't prepare for. So having
Hmm.
that example that you just shared with us, I think is powerful for other people. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I do want to ask about your channel, Amore Eat Travel,
Yes.
and just like your inspiration behind it, plans for the future, anything like that.
um so if anybody has watched, excuse me, AmorEatTravel was based on my vegan migration. So traveling
Mm.
while, like, discovering vegan eats, and, my vegan journey and so forth. And just like I said, due to, well, it kind of stopped a little bit, but things kind of paused on my channel, but I do plan on coming back. I do. But it was
Yeah.
just a matter of, well, first of all, let me go back, since
Hmm.
it was about my vegan eats and everything. And I know I want to, just trying to figure it out as far as the area in which I want to pivot toward, So this is
Hmm.
my exploratory phase. And let me tell you why.
Hmm.
Because after a while, like, you get tired of, eating in front of people. I mean, like, how many meals can you really have? And, you know, it's vegan food, but at the same time, I'm greedy, so I like good food. And all of my vegan food doesn't have to be raw and bland or whatever. So, it might be, oil, maybe,
Yeah.
avocado oil, but it's still fat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, we just gonna have to shift this. And I'm figuring that part out. But anyway, it was a matter of, too many meals, if you will. I want to, and I feel like, I don't know, something about it started feeling like, look at me eat,
Hmm.
It's just like, I want something that's a little bit more purpose driven. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And something where I could help. So I haven't really figured that out yet. I know Stephanie has said, get your first client, first three clients or whatever, and, to
Hmm.
build on YouTube, but I just haven't really figured out what that is, and as I was trying to figure it out, then, life started really lifing, so it's just
Hmm.
a lot of things that I just had to put on hold. But now that I can breathe a little bit and think, about me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
just making that transition to continue of what I want to do. The things that I want to do. I have some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I have some ideas, yeah. So,
Yeah.
pray for me. Pray.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Stephanie says you
Yeah.
can try a bunch of stuff when you have the time, see what you like. And that's so true. Like you said,
Why, thank
explore,
you,
experiment, see
Stephanie.
what you like. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm coming into right now, actually. That this is um, the next step, if you will, of I feel like my life as I, am okay with my father, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because when my parents are in a good place, then I'm in a good place. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm thinking and being able to, but I just don't want to. And you're absolutely right, Stephanie. But I don't. It's a part of me that just don't want to just go out and just do anything. You know what I mean? Or just be kind of careless with it. But at the same time, I'm learning to um do, to
Mm-hmm.
execute. You know what I mean? Like if because there's so many ideas in my head. It's like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and just learning to like just actually push the button and do it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and just get it out there.
Yeah. I
So
get that. I get that.
yeah.
I did want to talk about your T-shirt and mug line that you do have. F around and find out. Inspired right by the Montgomery brawl that we saw last year and
That is correct.
launched during
Yes.
Black History Month. I love it. Just wanted to give you space if you wanted to share anything about that, and I'll also link it in the chat if y'all want to
Okay.
purchase it.
And
Yeah.
I thank you. I thank you.
Mhm.
And that was it was inspired, yes, by the Montgomery Brawl.
Mhm.
And also pushing the button, all of these ideas in my head. And I was like, you know what? Just put it out there. Just put it
Yeah.
out there. And, instead of, because it's all, I think a lot of us, I know for myself anyway, you have all these ideas, but then they never come to fruition.
Mhm.
So that was just one of the things that um, started me to, just prompted me to like, okay, look, who cares? Because you kind of could get in your own head. Oh, what are they gonna think? All of
Yes.
that stuff. And it's like,
That's
you know
real.
what? Put
Yeah.
it out there. And what happens? I'm not looking to. It was something that I'm proud of and happy that I did.
Mhm.
Um, and it probably sounds cliche-ish, but if there's just one person that liked it,
Yeah.
it was okay for me. You know what I mean? Because it's just a
Mhm.
learning experience.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. I ordered my T-shirt in Guadalajara. It's not here yet,
No,
because we know shipping, international shipping, can get
that
a
part.
little weird.
Yeah, yeah,
But I do have my shirt back in St. Louis, so I'll post a picture
yes.
of it. I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the
I
F
actually
around and
have
find out.
one of them. Yeah, mess around. I have,
Oh
yes, actually, I have a clean version and a not so clean version.
yeah.
So, mess around and find out, or
Mhm.
messed around and found out. And then, there's a FAFO version as
Uh-huh.
well for those that, it's a censored and an uncensored version. But the people that, might not want this uncensored version, we all share the same sentiments in, that particular day. Um, the reason why I felt motivated to actually, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
No. Mm-mm.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm just talking. I
You're
guess that's
good.
what I'm supposed to do, right? Just talk. Um, so the reason why,
Mhm.
one of the reasons why, first of all, the event itself, but what motivated me to do it or just put it out there is because I just feel like our history is very, colorful, has a lot of uh tumultuous things
Mhm.
that have happened to us, especially in Alabama, in that
Mhm.
area. Um, and it's just a part of me was just like tired of hearing, we always are the ones that, they did this to, the Tulsa
Mhm.
massacre, yeah, Black Wall Street. It's just plenty of stories where we're the ones that's the victims, right? They did this
Mhm.
to us, they did that to us, um, and that could have been very well the case then. You know what I mean? They jumped on the man for what? You know, and it's a
Mhm.
part of it that feels like I feel like one of the reasons why the group of people jumped on them, because you never hear about us fighting back. You know,
Mhm.
all of our
Yeah.
stories, a lot of stories is like, and then that happened or whatever. It's not that, we're not passive
Not at all.
and we're not always victim. There's a lot of Nat Turners out there. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And, not to take it to that degree, but it's like, I just kind of feel like that day needs to be a day to remember, because it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, you try it, but we will fight back.
Right.
Let's note that. You know what I mean? The only reason why the cases have been that we weren't able to fight back or whatever is because the ratio, the ratio in numbers or whatever, through government, through a lot of different things, has always been in their favor. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's
Yeah.
always been whatever to one. It's always been someone, or just our counterparts. You always, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words or whatever, but just
Yeah.
always doing something, and always, being calculating to like
Yeah.
tear us down. And it's
It's
like
true.
sometimes you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just when that occurred, I just kind of felt like, you know what? It was just okay, like enough is enough.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I don't condone violence, but I
Mhm.
do condone taking a stand and protecting
Mhm.
ourselves. And after a while, it's just like, okay, enough is enough, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of feel like, along with Juneteenth,
Mhm.
that needs to be a day that needs to be remembered.
Yeah. Agree.
And so that's
Agree.
why I was just like, you know what, put it out there. And I was scared. I was like, oh Lord, what am I doing? But I was like, you know what, put it out there, and
Mhm.
that's just a part of my creative side. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just as far as like the logistics for starting an online shop for other people who may want to start one, start their own t-shirt line. What was that process like? Going
Girl,
through, I think it was Printify. Yeah.
yes, not having a clue, but just
Mhm.
I did shop around. I probably needed to do more research than what I did, because it is something where it's just learn as you go, you know.
Mhm.
Um but through the research that I did, I felt comfortable with Printify, and I think I did reach out. Who did I speak? I spoke to Stephanie, or actually, I spoke to Stephanie. I asked her for, it was something I asked her, but she connected me with Clarice. Hey,
Yeah.
Clarice. I know she was sick and tired of me, but she helped me as far as getting it up and running, and because after a while, it was just like, what do you do? And oh, and what's the other thing? Canva. Canva is your friend. That's what I use for my design, for my
Mhm.
designs and stuff. And I just kind of dipped and dabbed, and we'll see.
I
But
love
at
that.
least, like I said, the main thing was, I'm just glad I got it out there. That it was something where, okay, it's out there, and you see what happens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. And then I was
Um,
excited of the fact because I was nervous to show. Remember when I saw you in, thank you, Elise.
yeah.
um, when we met in Guadalajara. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Hmm.
well, and I just have this little. So I was happy with your response. Um, and we'll see. And so far, it has gotten a good response of people saying that they like it. Now, whether the purchases are happening, I don't know. But I don't
Hmm.
think that's a big thing, but it's okay. I mean, like, if you like it, that's fine. If it's just one of the things. A lot of people get a kick out of the mugs. Especially one thing, I have like three different mugs, but there's one that I have that has it has the mess around and find out, has the date, I believe, and then it has a picture of the folding chair.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's different things. Yeah.
Loved
Mhm.
it. Loved it. I did want to ask you, speaking of Guadalajara, just about building community when you
Mhm.
travel, and any tips that you have for other Black women who are traveling the world, maybe going to a new destination where they don't know anyone, just the importance of building community, both with other Black women traveling and with people who live here, right? Because you also introduced me to someone who was from Ghana.
Oh, yes, yes,
Mm.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm ugh, I don't even know how to call this. I'm an introvert, but with extrovert tendencies, if you will.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, I'm quiet. I'm by myself. I don't want to be bothered. But there are times when I just happen to just open my mouth and talk. Um, as far as building communities, I will say that Charles, Stephanie, and Rashida and everybody have made it very easy for us through,
Yes.
all of the platforms through Exodus Summit. Um, that's a wonderful, wonderful tool to use as far as when you're traveling. Um, because prior to that, it's just a matter of me just chalking up, a conversation with somebody because I've traveled all my life. So,
Mhm.
I have friends all around, and it was just like an organic situation where, you just kind of start talking, or
Mhm.
just happen to ask a question, and the next thing you're hanging out the whole day and just letting the day take its course. Um, but some people are not like that. Some people are really shy and don't want to say anything. So I would say platforms like Exodus Summit.
Mhm.
And there's none like that. Let me say that. There's
Mhm.
nothing like Exodus Summit, but
Very true.
for us to be able to give a shout and say, hey, I'm going to be in this town. Is there anybody there that might want to hook up for cook? That is wonderful to do, and especially for women and women of color, because it's kind of like a safety mechanism too, I feel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because you
Yeah.
do have to use your wits about you. You can't run up and talk to anybody, but um if you have any type of apprehension of just finding anybody, at least on there you could kind of connect and get the feel of the person, or meet other people in other places in a safe manner. you know um
Mhm.
YouTube, even, people that
Yeah,
have
that's
YouTube
true.
channels, you could reach out to them, or makes it, there's that whole social media space gives you so many options now to kind of build community and so forth. And then I feel like, in our space, as far as dealing with Exodus Summit, that's really geared toward Black women.
Mhm.
And or people may feel comfortable dealing with people that look like themselves, but I would like to challenge or say, especially with traveling, or even moving somewhere, hook up with people that don't really look like you. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm-hmm.
The locals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how I introduced you to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially I find, like in Mexico and different places, get wherever you're going, you know, talk to the locals. Make
Mm-hmm.
friends with the locals. That's very, very important because they know more than any of us as far as,
True.
what area that we're going to and how to, learn more about that specific area and things like that. So, um, I would just say just be open. Just
Mm-hmm.
be open, but, careful. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Open but
yeah.
careful. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And like you said,
Yeah.
it's important to connect with people like locals, like you said, who know more about the location that you're at than you do, right?
Right. Right.
So that they have that information, and it's also like a reciprocal relationship. It's not transactional. Hmm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Let it be authentic, of course, but it's
Hmm.
like, you know, the things that we don't, because it's always going to be a place where the person that's from there, the native, is going to know a little bit more,
Hmm.
and you got to allow yourself to be open to that and don't come in as the know-it-all sometimes
Hmm.
because because I did my research and I heard and all of that. No, well, you don't know. You know what I mean? That's like telling somebody, I don't know, from Hawaii, you know
Hmm.
about how the waves run in the water or something, and they from the mainland or something. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just,
Uh-huh.
that just doesn't make any sense. So allow yourself to have teachable moments from people that live
Mm.
there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yep.
So yeah.
That's key. That's key.
Mhm.
And especially
Mhm.
coming from the US, like sometimes that mindset of arrogance, sometimes that's something we got to unlearn and shed, right?
Yeah,
Because that's deeply embedded.
that's deeply embedded,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And I don't know. We would do ourselves a disservice.
Hmm.
That's like you know coming in somewhere. Well, I mean, you see it now, unfortunately, and it's gonna happen. But like with all the taco stands in Mexico,
Hmm.
and you go to McDonald's or KFC or something
Hmm.
like that, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
try something different.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, but it happens, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah, I did want to ask you about Querétaro. I think you're
Yes.
there now, and just why it was the
Yeah.
place that kind of called to you. Because I know you sold me on Querétaro to take a trip there.
Ah,
So yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Hmm. So I'm kind of roll by feelings or what my inner self or whatever, what my spirit says, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because I didn't start out in Querétaro. I was all fingers pointed at first, prior to me. Well, before Mexico, I'm even gonna go further back. But anyway, um, I was on my way to Vietnam. And then COVID happened, all of that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then I
Hmm.
realized that it was one way in, one way out. So I started looking and I realized, I was like, I've never been to Mexico. And it's so crazy because I'm an airline brat and we've traveled all over, across the Pacific Ocean, across the Atlantic Ocean, but never looked in our backyards at Canada or Mexico. I think when I was just
Hmm.
like a child, you know what I mean? So, all fingers was pointing to Guadalajara. And
Hmm.
then when I was on my way, I did 10 days in Guadalajara. And while I was there, I connected with a young lady that lived in Chapala. I didn't know what Chapala was. She's like, oh, we should have lunch. And Chapala was
Mhm.
only like 35 minutes away. At that particular time, that was what, 21? I think that was 21. Yeah. Um, at that particular time, just with all the rat race and all of that stuff, I don't know if you're familiar, but Lake Chapala is the largest lake, excuse me, in Mexico. And it's beautiful. It's heavily expated,
Mhm.
but it was something when I went down there for lunch, visited, it was something about the mountains and the lake that just kind of sucked me in, you know. And at
Mhm.
that time I was just looking to be calm and peaceful and so forth, and it was what I needed. And I stayed there for like 6 months. I think with the expectation of staying longer, I thought I was going to stay longer, but Lake Chapala, when you get rid of all the, the, I don't know, the, I don't know what's the word that I'm looking for. I'm sorry, child.
No,
Um, but
you're good.
when all the novelty of it, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
wears off.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was okay. Oh, that's cute. The horse is going across the street. Oh, look. But then you
Yeah.
forget what the horse leaves behind. And it's like,
Mm.
oh, I don't
Mhm.
like that, And then a lot of different things like, the quote unquote river rocks or cobblestone that they call it, but I call them river rocks. It's like kind of hard to walk on and all of that stuff. And I just thought that I was like, you know what? I'm a city girl.
Mm.
But at
Mhm.
the same time, I knew that Guadalajara wasn't it
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
me, because at first I was like kind of like I'll move back, but then all the traffic and all of that stuff, and I
It's a
was
lot
like,
of traffic.
no,
Mhm.
it's a lot of traffic, and no, I just didn't
Mhm.
want some place that was that kind of felt like New York in a sense, or felt
Mhm.
like that I had to, always look over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Um, so I think went to YouTube University basically
Yeah.
and started looking at places, looking at different towns.
Mhm.
And it was somebody, I forgot. Oh, Tangerine Travel. I think they were
Mm.
there or something. And then I
Mm.
saw something with the Arbros there and just different people. I was like, and the thing that really attracted me was the aqueduct. Most
Mm.
all girls,
Mhm.
and I was like,
Yeah.
that's cute. Where was that? And not really even expecting. I don't think at that time, I think I was just visiting, I wasn't expecting to
Mhm.
actually move there. It was just a matter of, well, I'll go visit and, maybe do a couple of, videos, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I got there and just, I took a tour
Mhm.
and just kind of walked around and just kind of got the feel of the area and stuff. It was just something that gave me this warm fuzzy, like I could live here, you know.
Yeah.
And what I like about Querétaro is that for me, because I mean, bless anybody, I know a lot of people love Mexico City, and Mexico City is cool.
Mhm.
But for me, Querétaro is just enough city without being in your face. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
have your creature comforts. There's some things that you're used to or that you have, but then you still have that. I like the colonial feel, you know what I mean? And now, they're building even more.
Mm.
Um, so it's like a lot of old and new. You know what I mean? I
Gotcha.
like that mix of old and new. I like that it's a walkable city. I feel safe. And like I said, when I got there, it was just like I just had this warm fuzzy. I love architecture, so I love
Me too. Mhm.
paying attention to that, but not so steeped in old. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still have a mix where you have your new things too. And that's what I can say that I appreciate about Mexico City. as well because
Mhm.
it's a lot of different architecture and it's, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, but it just works for me. And I like that it's central. I feel like it's centrally located where it's only 3 hours away from Mexico City if you want to go. They have their own airport. Aguas
Mhm.
Caliente is not far. Guanajuato is not far. San Miguel de Allende is not far, and it's wine country.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's always a plus.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I did want to ask you like the differences between Lake Chapala and Querétaro for people who are not really familiar with either of those areas.
The biggest difference is basically, when you look at it, Lake Chapala is like it's farmland, you
Mm.
know?
Mhm.
It is kind of farmland. It is, I don't know about it now. What I've heard recently is that I think a lot more younger people are moving there. But the other
Mhm.
thing with Lake Chapala, I felt was I wasn't getting the real experience of Mexico
Mm.
because it
Mhm.
is a heavily gringoed area, if you will. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, and my purpose was not I didn't plan on moving to Little America. I could go back to America
Mhm.
for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, in that area, you really do not have to speak Spanish at
Mm.
all,
Mhm.
you know? So much so, there's a certain level of arrogance that's like, there's stories, you
Yeah.
know, because they're there with the attitude of people are there to serve them as opposed to
Mhm.
really assimilating and learning the culture, get mad. You're in a Mexican country and
Mhm.
you want people to speak English. Okay. You
Yes.
know, the
Mhm.
language is Spanish. So learn. But there are people that actually I've witnessed it myself. People get aggravated because they can't understand what they're saying. Okay. So that's the biggest draw and the realization for me.
Mm.
Um, on the flip side, though, there's a wonderful community of Black women that I've met there.
Mhm.
Um, and they're not a part of what I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I appreciated about that area. Um, the other thing on the flip side is it's more of a retirement community.
Mhm.
I did hear, like I said, I did hear that younger people are moving there now, but I got a kick out of um, seeing retirees enjoy themselves. You
Mm.
know,
I remember that video
sometimes the
you showed
rhetoric
me.
that
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
That video you showed me
Oh
of
yeah, 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 yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's it's that was beautiful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because sometimes the rhetoric in the States is, retire to sit around, or some people, not all, but retire to die or something like that, or they don't even have that opportunity,
It's
because they've
true.
worked themselves to a level of no longer being able to really enjoy their life, right? But there it just seems like a lot of people get a second chance at life,
Mm.
and to see them actually enjoy themselves. And then on top of that, to see it within our community, to see Black people enjoy themselves and really the beauty of seeing a Black woman have no stress on their face.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
a beautiful thing. If you really pay
Yeah.
attention to it, that is just a lovely thing because, again, in the States, we wear our stress.
Mhm.
It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So to just have a sense of woosah
Yeah.
to exude, out of your pores is just a wonderful thing. So I do, excuse me, I do
Mhm.
appreciate that area in that regard of being able to meet some wonderful people. It
Mhm.
is a place of, actually, a lot of people from Guadalajara go down to Lake Chapala for like a getaway. That's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
locals, they have like their house. So I would correlate it with like New York and the Hamptons. Basically,
Ah.
when you want to get
Mm-hmm.
rid of, get away from the rat race or whatever, you go out there and just kind of chill and then you go back. So that area was known for that once upon a time, I think. And now it's, of course, it's becoming heavily populated with a lot of people. And then you have snowbirds and all of that stuff. But
Right.
Querétaro, on the other hand, I like I said, it's enough city. There's an expat community, but it's not so concentrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the option. I feel like the beauty of Querétaro is, um, unlike San Miguel or Chapala, because those are two very popular expat communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have the opportunity to check in or check out. You could engage or you don't have to.
Right.
So I think I like that in a sense where there's a mix, and the mix is, it's growing. The population is growing in terms of expats in Querétaro, but you have an opportunity to really learn the culture,
Mm-hmm.
to utilize your Spanish,
Yeah.
and to engage with the locals, just have a mix of friends, and
I like
without
that.
it being something where I think you have the opportunity to actually feel like you're in Mexico and have that Mexico feel, but have some things that you're used to. Like they
Mm-hmm.
have Costco, they have, Sam's Club, things like that, that you don't feel like you're totally lost and, don't have anything that you might not be familiar with.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. I did
Hmm.
see the huge Sam's Club. I was like, oh, okay. Look at that. Yeah. I'm just going to read a comment here from the educator. My aunt is 82 and wants to go back to work because she doesn't know what else to do. I have been encouraging her to travel. That's beautiful. Yeah,
Nice. Very
definitely.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with like the more stories we're seeing being shared of people who have retired, right? The Exodus Summit is a perfect place for that. Like retire and travel, right? That's not the end of your
Right.
journey. There's still so much life to
Right.
live after that.
I believe someone has is a 70 and older or 60 and older or whatever. She should refer her did she say it was her aunt? I'm
Uh
sorry.
huh.
Her
Yeah.
aunt. Yeah, refer
Mm-hmm.
her aunt to the different YouTube channels just to see, sometimes, we need a little bit more encouragement to
Mm-hmm.
or have to see it to see that it's possible.
That's true.
Sometimes just hearing about it is another thing. So I would say find that. I don't know what the name of it is. Stephanie might, I'm sure she knows, but yeah, look on
Yeah.
there and start getting into the different groups,
Mm-hmm.
because it is possible, just to let her see that it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tea
Hmm.
Time Beauty says Kathy Hampton has her 50 plus retreats. That's true. That's true. I think she
See.
has one coming up in Mexico City too. Yep.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, Kathy Hampton. Yep,
Yep.
great.
Let's see here. I'll read another comment. Tea Time Beauty says having a travel journal has been a great way to stay connected to myself throughout my process of traveling and connecting with new experiences. I love that. And I never thought about having a travel
Nice.
journal. You gave me an idea. I need to start one.
I
Thank you.
know.
Thank you. But yeah, I did want to ask you about bus travel too throughout Mexico. That was my first experience going to Querétaro via an ETN bus. Just what your
Yeah.
experiences have been like traveling by bus through Mexico.
Child, I might need to
Mhm.
get some type of endorsement from ETA
Yeah.
because I tell everybody about what this is what a bus.
Yeah.
Child, put Greyhound to shame,
I was
absolute shame.
surprised. I was so surprised. Luxury.
Actually,
Uh-huh.
yes, the seats and everything. Actually, it's starting to put some of our airlines to shame because,
Mm-hmm.
the airlines are starting to have kitchen seats and
It's
kitchen
true.
chairs. It's like, but you have large plush seats and it's comfortable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really
Very
comfortable. So
nice.
yeah, that's my I've gone on, they have other ones, Primera Plus, but anywhere that ATN travels, yeah. Yeah, that's me. That's
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm going on there. And I've trusted it so much that I took a 12-hour trip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it was
Wow.
great. Yeah, I went from
Mm.
Querétaro to Mazatlan.
Okay.
And here's what you do. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you do to make it work. Don't leave during the day. You leave
Mm.
at night. You go to sleep.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
you you know, and those are comfortable chairs, right?
They
There's
are.
comfortable
They
seats.
recline.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kick up your legs, honey. Yes, you
Yeah.
are golden. So yeah, so you leave at night. You
Mm-hmm.
get your sleep, and then by the time you wake up, so you're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you have to be strategic, with it, but and it's safe. I haven't. No, it's not even set up like that. Where Greyhound child, I took a bus one time in my life, and that was the last time in the United States, and that was only because I forgot my flight. I had to get to work the next day, and my flight there was like a hurricane or something in the
Mm-hmm.
area. Never again. Because all the crazies was
I
going
can
on
only
Greyhound
imagine.
at that time. Yeah, it was years ago, but I remember that, and that was the first and last time. ETN, I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm. It's a whole new
wow,
world.
it's
Mm-hmm.
a whole new world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Mm.
So you enjoyed it.
I did. Very much
Great,
so. Very much so.
great, great,
Yes.
great, great.
Thank you for the
hmm
recommendation. Yes. Um, and with that, I just wanted to ask you if you have like any fears as you're traveling the world. And if so, how do you navigate those for maybe people who be maybe new to traveling? Right?
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, but I can't speak to
Yeah.
that. I've just
Yeah.
never been one that have, I've never been fearful of going
Mm.
anywhere, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably, like I said, traveling is in my blood. So if I don't fly somewhere, it's nothing for me to jump in a car and go and just drive or whatever. But
Right.
I love to travel. I will say, wherever you're from,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, I was always say keep your wits about you. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, just because you're going someplace new or wherever, just um don't let your guard down.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy the place, but enjoy it and be sensible about what you're doing as you're, you know, checking out a
Yeah.
new place.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just, I guess, trying to find that line. You could be friendly but not too friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Explore, but explore knowing, always go out, because I've seen it, be it from New York and just people, the tourists and stuff, never walk around gazing, looking up and have your bag exposed and all of that stuff. Keep
Yeah.
your wits
Yeah.
about you wherever you
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they might speak another language or whatever, you know how
Mm-hmm.
to defend yourself and know how to, keep the distance,
Right.
and keep your space secure, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
but
That makes complete sense.
other than that, as far as being fearful, no. And I think if anyone is, it's just a matter of, again, like, um making yourself available to different communities that
Mm-hmm.
might have gone to that particular place. Do your
Right.
research, ask questions for somebody that's been there, um, stay away from the noise of
Mm,
the people that don't know. Girl, I heard it was
mm.
such and such. I heard you going where? I heard you heard.
Yeah,
You haven't
that's
been.
real.
So I
Yeah.
don't know who they are or
Mm,
whatever or what you heard. I have to go and check it out myself. You know what I mean? So
mm,
it's just like, you know, look to the ones that's been there before you, you know.
mm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's key. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And Mara says, was given New York. I'm from New York and moved to North Carolina. I like it, but I'm always careful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Don't let a tree
Mm-hmm.
fool you. People think that, just because it's beautiful with trees, that people not, being rogue or thieving. People thieve with trees too. With trees around.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think we underplay those skills that we've gained navigating the US, right? If you travel domestically, you have skills. You just take
Yeah.
those when you travel internationally, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I actually had a situation in Guadalajara
Mm.
where
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they tried to rob me.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Two guys tried to rob me, yeah. Um, but everything, like just all my spidey senses and everything just went off. I dropped off my bags at the not my bags. Yeah, I had my bags because I went out that whole day,
Mm-hmm.
was exploring around Guadalajara, and I ordered my food through Uber and just went to Oxo. I was like, "Oh, I gotta get some water." Now it's
Mm-hmm.
daylight. It's daylight,
Yeah.
but the sun is about to set. And I said, "Well, let me go ahead and get some water." And I get the big old jugs, the what is that, bona fide or whatever
Oh yeah.
water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And 3 blocks away, and I see the guys, and I see the one
Mm.
like turn around and look at me, and then he said something to the guy. So the other guy turned around. I said, "Oh boy, here we go."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, they tried it. They tried to watch me in the OXXO and everything, and I stayed in there for a while. And then I was about to leave, and the woman said, "Senor," and this was only when I knew 2 words in Spanish, but I knew hombre. I knew dos hombres. No, no, no,
Yeah.
don't leave. Dos hombres, they watching you. I was like, oh
Mm.
my God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I ended up having to take a Uber back. That's the short end of it, the short story. But they
Mm-hmm.
called the Uber for me to take my water and myself back 3 blocks away. So the whole day I ran into no one that spoke Spanish. I mean, spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
And I get in and I said, "Thank you, senor. Uh, habla inglés?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes, I lived in Queens for 25 years." I said, "Oh, finally." So I was like, "Look, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm only taking the Uber like 3 blocks away." I said, "But this
Mm-hmm.
is what happened." He was like, "Those, a-holes." He said, "Don't worry, I got you." So he got me home safe, and it was fine. But I mean, I say I'm sharing that story, but that could happen still in
Yeah.
anywhere. So
Yeah.
please don't let that deter you. It could happen around the corner from you.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So still travel. But like I said, keep your wits about you and know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maya says, "Don't let a tree fool you. I'm living in North Carolina now. Some thieves do hide behind some of these oaks." Yeah,
Ciao.
that's true. That is
Exactly.
true. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, as we're wrapping up, I just wanted to ask you about future travel plans, or if you plan to stay in Querétaro long term. Just what the future looks like for you when it comes to travel.
Yes. Yes, I do plan on that is my plan to stay in Querétaro a long time. I like Querétaro enough for it to be my home base, but
Mm-hmm.
then to travel around different places. I am weaning myself off of the cruise.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just good until it's not
Right.
anymore. So post COVID, it's just that a lot of things have changed, you know what I mean? But I do have another cruise coming up in April. So that will be like my next big travel or whatever. I go to Grenada. I get the
Ooh.
ship in Grenada, and
Hmm.
then we do the Caribbean for a while, and then we do across Atlantic. Excuse me,
Mm.
cross Atlantic, and I end up in Barcelona. So
Wow.
that'll be fun. Yeah. So some of my girlfriends are gonna. I have some that's meeting me in Grenada. So I'll be there for a couple of days before I get the ship. Then I have some that's meeting me in Barcelona, and then about one or two that's actually doing the crossing with me. So yeah, so I'm
Ooh.
looking forward to that. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I
I was
love
like,
that.
come on. So, and I'm fingers crossed. Um I'm planning on that. I'm feeling like that's my last one. That's my last cruise and just off and on to something else. Yeah.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Understood. Understood. And that was my
It's
other question: if you have time to travel while you're cruising, but it sounds like you have,
oh
like
yeah.
you have. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
The beauty of it, I actually used to call it my vacation because, and it still is. The beauty of it is that it's I play with hair. That's what I
Mm.
do. I
Hmm.
play with wigs. I style the wigs, and it's second nature to me.
Yeah.
So, and no one knows I'm working unless I tell you. But for the
Hmm.
most part, I do what I have to do. Then for the duration, like this past one, I did 2 weeks. The length of time I worked was probably 4 days.
Gotcha.
Physically worked,
Hmm.
then the rest of the time is mine. I mean, we have production rehearsal or something like that, but that's only like 2 days out of the time also. But it's not anything that's strenuous or it's just,
Right.
yeah. So I travel. I mean, I get off, whatever port
Hmm.
or, do whatever, take advantage of all the activities and stuff on the ship and all of that. Yeah.
I love
So
that.
it's
I
cool.
love
Yeah.
that. I just read a comment from Tea Time Beauty here. She says, "True here in Pacific Northwest, people have dang near ran me over. There are nasties everywhere, anywhere. Thank you for that reminder, Kim. Stay protected, sisters." Yeah, it's true.
Mhm.
Everywhere,
Yeah.
people are
Yes.
people
Everywhere.
everywhere around the world. Hmm.
Everywhere. Mhm.
And yeah, as we're ending, just wanted to ask how people can continue to
Oh,
follow your
thank
journey
you.
online.
I will ask that you just be patient and pray for me. But
Yeah.
I do plan on coming back to a more Eat Travel. I'm glad that I named it that, so it's not tied to vegan food or anything. So I'll have more things to talk about, especially travel. There's a lot of ideas. I'm gonna probably have to meet up with you again, but I have a lot of ideas that speak to women specifically,
Hmm. Hmm.
and traveling. And it's funny that I shared that because it's dealing with safety and so forth. So, working on that, just working on different projects and just allowing myself to actually do and
Right.
execute and not be afraid. That's my journey
Hmm.
right now.
I understand
But yeah,
that.
follow me. I'll keep you posted with AmorEatTravel just to let you know what my next moves are and
I love
yeah.
it. I love it. And Tea Time Beauty says just subscribe. So yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, and I guess I will put up something soon because I just kind of, with the crazy year and everything going on. I just didn't,
Yeah.
posting a video or anything was like the last thing as far as like trying to explain of, what life is doing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and now I feel like I'm in a space where, okay, everybody's good, so I
Hmm.
could kind of talk about it and explain the reason why I've been MIA for so long.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to whenever you post. No rush. Again, I
Thank
linked
you.
your channel in the chat and put it up here again. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being a wonderful
Thank
guest, sharing all
you.
these travel tips with us. A lot of us are new travelers. So this information is so helpful. So I just thank you for sharing it and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for considering me,
Oh,
and of any, any information that, I have or could think of. I have to get out of my way and thinking, oh, nobody want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear. And
we do.
like you said, there's a
We
lot of
do.
new travelers. So
Hmm.
yes, I thank you for allowing me to be a voice in
Absolutely.
that arena. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank y'all so much for everything you put in the chat. As always, community knowledge sharing is so important. So, on that note, we'll end here. And thank y'all so much. Until next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.